The story happened last summer. I went to my hometown on vacation. It so happened that Bob took me with him on a hunting trip. There was an odd-looking old man in town, a hereditary hunter. Everybody came back empty-handed, but he always got a game in the woods. There was even an unkind rumor about him. Bob didn't go to the woods anymore, so I persuaded the old man to go hunting with the help of expensive presents and a case of American whiskey. "All right, I'll take you with me. And not for your presents, but out of respect. I remember when you were running around with your buddies. And now I see you've made a name for yourself." "Respectable man," Bob reasoned. We went out to the woods early in the morning. Bob didn't disappoint, and there were plenty of game. By the evening we settled down in a small glade, made a fire, a small tent in case of a rain. When after all business we sat down near a fire, the turn of stories has come. "Bob, tell a scary story," I asked the old man. He squinted his eyes slyly. "You won't believe it anyway." "Well, you tell it, and then we'll see." "I was about your age when I had a hunting accident once," Bob began his leisurely story. "I've got in a difficult situation then. I made a fire and dozed off in the evening. Woke up to a scream in the woods. And a woman was screaming. So, I rushed to the scream and jumped out to a small glade in the middle of the swamp." Bob was silent, looking into the fire. "And what next?" I hurried him up. "I see a beautiful girl on the islet, and she is shrilling as if she was in trouble. And looking at me so bewitching. The moon was bright at the time, and I got a good look at her. I rushed to her, thinking that to help, and then suddenly I see that I'm already swampy fluid waist deep dragged. Wasn't that a forest creature?" "That's right, I was scared." Bob looked thoughtfully at the dark forest around us. Within the confines of the fire, it seemed eerie, enchanting. So I went back to the shore. And the girl laughed such an eerie laugh. And suddenly, before my eyes, she turned into a wolf. But before that she had time to say some words to me, which I still remember. What were those words? That sooner or later she'll get me. I've been lucky in hunting ever since. The forest woman wants me to visit the forest more often. I couldn't help smiling. Bob frowned and got up from the deadwood and went into the hut. "All right, we've got to go to bed. There's a lot to do tomorrow." I realized that I offended the old man. His story was very strange. You wouldn't believe a story like that. And so it happened at night that I had to go away from the clearing to do my business. The fire was barely smoldering by then. I was standing looking at the stars and at the huge moon peeking through the trees. Suddenly I heard a piteous cry in the distance. It scared me. I remembered at once the old man's story. Well, I didn't believe in all sorts of devilry. I thought maybe Bob wanted to play a joke on me. So I decided to scream. And so he led me to a huge clearing filled with rotten trees. And the rest was just like in Bob's story. Not far from me on the islet I saw a very beautiful girl bathed in moonlight. She was so beautiful in the silvery light that I could not compare her to anyone else. The girl smiled and beckoned me. I stared at her bottomless, black pupils. I came to my senses when I felt someone grab me by the shoulders and pull me out of the stinking swamp. It turned out that Bob had pulled me out. He also slapped me across the face. I looked on the glade flooded by the moonlight. And there stood a huge wolf, shiny and howling at the moon. I still can't understand where the truth is. I asked Bob who he saw in the clearing, the girl or the wolf. But the old man just smiled slyly and joked. As far as I know, he didn't go hunting anymore since then. Thank you for watching and supporting me. Subscribe to the channel, there will be many more interesting things.